Hello everyone. This is the last lecture that I will be with you in this module. Today's topic is organizational culture and change. We are taking into consideration at the organizational level to see how the climate, the culture will affecting the employees' behavior. And we also look into how the changes in the organization will affecting the employees' behavior. I hope you enjoy this class. If you have any question, just let me know. Thank you. After taking this section, we expect you to understand what organizational culture is and why this is so important. And we also expect you to note the reason why organization introduce change and why this may not work always fail. And lastly, we will also have some insight into ways to manage different types of organizational change. Because nowadays you can see that because the external environment is so turbulent, so organizations will need to change their organizational climate in order to cope with the customers and the client's expectation. That's why the topic of organizational change will work together with organizational climate culture so that they can work hand in hand together in order to meet today's turbulence environment. And here is the overview of today's lecture. As I said that, we are going to combine the two major topics in organizational psychologies into one section, that is organizational culture and organizational change. Organizational culture, we need to know something like about what is culture and different types of culture and why culture is so important. Indeed, as I said that, because organization nowadays, they have to meet with the turbulence external environment as well as will need to improve their internal situation. That's why they have to change in order to cope with this demand. And the topic of organizational change, including something like we have to identify and note about the drivers and the types of the change. And we also need to note about the failures of the change, the reason why organization change will be failed. And we're also making some suggestions to improve the effectiveness of the organizational change. First, what is organizational change? By definition, organizational change refers to something like the glues that will stick people, organization, and everything together towards the organizational objectives and missions. And so, it is a kind of the norms, value, beliefs, and ways of the behaving, and we're regulating people, logistic, and everything, production, marketing, everything together. And so in order to combine the people together to achieve the organizational goal. So this is the general ideas of organizational climate, organizational culture. Here are some key aspects of organizational culture that we should know. Number one is culture should be shared among organization's members. In most of the situations, the top management team, they will create the organizational climate, but they do not share and communicate those climates to all members in the organization. So we cannot call it as organizational culture. Culture should be something that everyone in the organization shared and understand what they are. And so, this is about the culture. That's why organizational culture indeed is the climate of the organization. They're the same. Everyone in this environment, they will affected by this climate. This is organizational culture. Indeed, we also defined how those in an organization will behave under particular circumstances. The employees, because they work in certain organization, they have the specific organizational climate, and their behavior will be regulated intangibly by this organizational climate. Employees, they work in organization, they feel it, they can sense this climate, and so will have to behave under certain way. It will also affect all in organization, not only the people, how they behave, but also the strategies that the organization will take, the marketing strategies, the production strategies, the human resources strategies, etc. And so it's not affecting people, but everything in organization. Organizational culture is something that we cannot observe, easily identify, analyze, and study. And so, how can we understand an organizational culture? And now I give you 5 minutes to work on to imagine that you have to go out in AMBS and to think about the culture of this organization.